Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's great to have you back for another weekend workshop. I'm excited that you're going to be a part of this session today on the power of decision. And welcome back to Victoria Hirst. She's been a part of past workshops for weekend before. I had the pleasure of meeting her in person as well at the AWEC event just last month, I guess it was. So welcome, everyone. Today is going to be, I think, a game-changing type of a workshop for a lot of us who are in business, who are really looking at taking the reins back. Sometimes, how it feels it's going sideways and things end up in a direction and you wake up thinking, wait a minute, how did I get here? So that's really the focus and the vision today. Victoria is going to apply all sorts of her training and past experiences as well to this workshop. So we're thrilled to have her here. Just before we dive into the workshop, though, I would love for you to take a moment in a networking sense to introduce yourselves in the Zoom chat. This is a great chance for you to get some visibility for your business and let us know where you're connecting from, what's your business about, and perhaps you want to put a link in there as well. We would love to connect with you. While you're doing that, I'll acknowledge that Queen's University is situated on the ancestral territory of the Huron, the Anishinaabe, and the Haudenosaunee peoples. And since we have Remembrance Day coming up in just a few days, I thought that I would acknowledge and draw some attention to the first ever Indigenous woman to join the Canadian Army. So her name was Mary Grey Eyes Reed, and she was a Cree woman from Muskeg Lake Reserve. So her brother David signed up for the Canadian Army, and she decided that she would do so as well. So she enlisted, and it was World War II. She was shipped out to a Canadian base in Aldershot, England, where she was given the tasks of cooking and doing laundry, which were two tasks she absolutely hated, but that was all that she was seen to be fit for. And in fact, she asked for a transfer, but her sergeant lied on her paperwork and said that she spoke no English. And so eventually, however, Mary was transferred to London, England, where she actually did meet Princess Elizabeth, the future Queen of England, of course. She stayed on in London until 1946. And when she came home, she said those were some of the best years of her life being a part of the Canadian Army, which is, I think, an interesting story and hopefully a little spotlight on the first the first Indigenous woman to be a part of the Canadian Army. So think about perhaps today where you are situated and on what ancestral land you are connected to. So welcome everyone. Thanks for those who have joined us, who are connecting in the Zoom chat already. Victoria, I would love to hand you the virtual microphone. Welcome back. Great to have you. Actually, it's your first workshop you're doing for weekend. We feel like we've known you and you've participated so much before. Thank you for putting this together for us. We can't wait to dive in. Over to you.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you for that shout out for Remembrance Day. I am wearing my poppy, proud to remember all those who have sacrificed and given their lives for what we now have. And we'll get into our gratitudes in a moment, but thank you for that acknowledgement. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much. I'm so thrilled to be here. Today, and we're going to be diving into something that impacts every moment of our lives and businesses, the power of decision. As professional women, so much rides on the decisions we make, not just for ourselves.
Yes, please.
Can we mute?
Is somebody not on mute? I'm just sort of.
I see it's.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
Perfect. Thank you. As professional women, so much rides on the decisions we make, not just for ourselves, but for our teams, our clients, our families, our businesses, and our communities, right? And I don't know about you, but I wasn't taught how to make decisions. I simply acquired them by trial and error until I started to study it. So today is about understanding the power of decision making and turning the art of decision making into one of our most reliable leadership and entrepreneurial superpowers. And so if you haven't already, please grab a pen and some paper to write on. We will be doing some journaling today. And I'm painting the barn door red. This is a new presentation for me. I usually focus on the power of vision, but as I was presenting that one day, I realized there's so much indecision. Not in decision, but in the power of decision. And Kerry and I discussed how it could serve this community. And so we've created these slides. Well, actually, Wendy, who's here today, created these amazing slides. I'm so grateful for Wendy. And she's created them because we know that there are visual learners. We all learn in different ways. And there are visual learners and there are audio learners. So if you're a visual learner and you are going to be concentrating on the slides, I do invite you to also keep your eyes on me. I'm hoping, Kerry, that I'm side by side, so that you're not necessarily focusing on the words on the slide, because they're not exactly what I'm going to be saying. They're a blueprint for what I'm saying, but there may be times when it's slightly different, and I don't want to throw you off by you focusing on the slides. So I wanted to start by sharing a quick anecdote, because I was catching up with a friend the other day, and I noticed even for accomplished adults, sometimes making a commitment can bring up hesitation, distraction, and even overwhelm. Can you relate to that? Decisions, even the simple ones, can feel heavy or confusing at times. And here's the thing, we can make decisions shape our lives, our careers and our businesses, and our priorities in ways we often don't realize. And so let's turn today. My intention for us today is to turn decision making from something that may have been draining your energy into a tool that you can use with clarity and unapologetic confidence in your career, your business, your work, and your life. And so by the time we finish today, you'll see decision making as a superpower you already have. And you'll walk away with some practical tools to make decisions with certainty and ease, both professionally and personally. And we're going to be doing a lot of journaling today, and we're going to have some fun as well. So before we dive in, let's take a collective breath together. Let's release what may have happened before this Zoom. In the words of Taylor Swift, let's shake it off. And let's arrive fully present. Please pause your distractions, your cell phones, etc., and take a moment to come into yourself. And so this is what I lead my clients through for every coaching session I have. Let's take a moment and simply close our eyes. And take a deep breath in through our nose and out through our mouth as if we're blowing out through a straw. And we'll do that a couple of times together. And we do this because in as little as 3 breaths, we're sending a powerful message to our nervous system to move out of any flight, fright, freeze, or stress that we may have experienced and move into rest, digest, and create. And we're moving oxygen into our brains, enabling us to be open to new ideas, to be open for growth and expansion. How's that feel? That feels great, right? And so I would love for you to share in the chat where you're Zooming from and what you're grateful for in both your career and your life. And I'll give you an example. And Kerry, I can see the chat, but maybe this is an opportunity for you to read what comes up. But I'll share an example. I'm zooming in from South Frontenac. The sun is coming out. Yay! And I'm so happy and grateful to be serving you, this wonderful, amazing weekend community. And I'm also so incredibly grateful for my partner who supported me this morning by making coffee and breakfast. So now please go ahead and share where you're zooming in from and something that you're grateful for in both your career and your life.
I'll just start while we're waiting for some folks to add to the chat, and that is that I'm so grateful that I get to work with my fur baby coworker here today. And so for me, it just lowers my stress level when I have a furry pet close by. I don't know why, but that's for me. Um, so
Absolutely.
we've got Chantel, who is from CC Weddings and is coming from Sealy's Bay, and she is grateful also for the sunshine today. We Canadians are in the midst of going into winter weather here. Lori says she's from Kingston and she's grateful for educational opportunities. Jamie says she's grateful for her wonderful clients and amazing family. Wendy, zooming in from Perth Road Village, says she's grateful for the ability to work with these amazing clients and also for her puppies. Prabha was coming in from Collingwood, grateful for her support group, especially her husband, and for having the courage to go out on her own. Yes, high five. Lynn coming in from Nevada. Great to see you again, Lynn. Is grateful for the rainy day yesterday and an exciting presentation week on 11/11. Jennifer from Prairie Telegraph Digital Marketing from the Ottawa area is grateful that her morning dentist appointment was not nearly as terrible as she anticipated. Sarah coming in from Halifax, Nova Scotia. Hi, Sarah. Great to have you again. Is grateful that thanks to AOI, she gets to join on the call. And she got out for a walk this morning despite the rainy weather. Heather Jackson from Sterling is grateful for the amazing women in her life that support her personally and in her business.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh, what an amazing shares and amazing I mean, what I love in this process is that appreciation appreciates. And so we get to share in everybody's gratitudes. I love what you were saying, Carrie, about your fur babies. You know, we get to experience that as you articulated it. We get to experience it too. And doesn't it feel great? So I hope now that in that process too, I invite you to be open and curious about our time together. So thank you for sharing, everyone. That's the beginning of some of our shares. And I wanted to lead this morning with a quote that quite literally changed my life. Bob Proctor said, "There is a single mental move that you can make, which in a millisecond will solve enormous problems for you. It has the potential to improve almost any personal or business situation you will ever encounter. And it could literally propel you down the path to incredible success." We have a name for this magic mental activity, and it's called decision. I mean, powerful, right? We all have our own decision-making styles. Some of us go by gut. Others of us love our spreadsheets and long pros and cons list. And some of us, well, we'll decide eventually. And each one of us brings intelligence, intuition, and unique experience to the table. And that's a part of what makes women's leadership and entrepreneurship so dynamic. So let's play a game together and get to know how you usually make decisions, especially when it comes to your career and your business. So if you haven't grabbed a pen, please grab a pen now. And so and before we start, I just want to add, this is a no judgment zone. There is no good or bad. This is simply awareness. The first key to shifting how you make results, whether in your business or life, is simply noticing your patterns. And so this questionnaire that we're going to do is an opportunity for you to learn your style. And so for each question, write down your answer A, B, or C, the one that best fits you. And so, question number one, when faced with an unexpected business or career opportunity, what do you do? Do you A, jump in quickly? It feels right, so you go for it. Do you B, pause and analyze every possible outcome? Or do you C, wait until things unfold and then decide as it comes? And document your answer. Next, at a new restaurant, how do you order or choose your meal? Do you A, pick the first thing that catches your eye? B, scan the menu, review recommendations or data? Or C, ask others to surprise you and go with the group's choice? Next, if a big decision is looming, like changing jobs, moving house, or launching a new project, how do you feel? Are you A, excited? You love making changes fast. B, are you anxious and you need time and as much information as possible? Or are you C, open? You'll wait to see where life leads. And your favorite phrase around decision is, do you A, go with your gut? B, let's make that pros and cons list. C, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Choose your answer. And so, did you tally your results? Let's make a note of whether or not you got mostly A's, B's, or C's. And did you get the results you expect? Did you get mostly A's? Are you the decisive doer? Did you get mostly B's? Are you an analytical weigher? Or did you get mostly C's? You're flexible and in flow. And remember, without judgment and knowing there is no right or wrong, what were your results? Please type them in the chat. So we've got a B, 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 mostly B's. Wow. But C's, A, B, C. Beautiful. So it's a real spectrum. Some of everything tending towards C, B's, B's. Beautiful. A and B, 50-50 A and B. Nice. And so the first key to shifting how you make decisions is simply noticing your own style, your own patterns, because that's the metacognition edge that exceptional leaders and entrepreneurs embrace. What else did you notice? Did you make decisions differently with your family than in your career? Or do you make decisions differently with your family than in your career? Just think of that for a moment. And if you have anything to jot down, I invite you to write your notes as you go along. It's so easy that we'll forget the work we do if we don't write it as we go along.
Yeah, there's another Victoria on the call, and she said some of her answers would change depending on the particular situation, which is what you were referring to, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really great to notice that because that's the awareness. That's where the power is. And we use it as our guiding light as we move through today, helping us step into greater clarity and freedom in every personal and professional decision we make. And so let's talk about why decisions really matter, especially for the life and business we want, for the life and business we design and desire. In business and life, the accumulation of small choices, how we show up, who we network with, and what priorities we honor builds the trajectory of our careers, our businesses, and our lives. And scientists estimate that the average person has between 60 and 70,000 thoughts a day. I'm just going to let that land for a moment because that is like, we're having between 60 and 70,000 thoughts a day. That's a tidal wave of possibilities. And every day we make hundreds of choices. What to wear, what to eat, how to respond, whether to reach out or hold back, what risks to take, which projects or teams to champion, who to hire. Each choice might seem small in itself, but together they become the blueprint of our days, of our weeks, of our years, and our work and our legacy. Decisions are the building blocks of both our lives and businesses. And every choice, big or small, shapes our path. As Henry Ford famously said, I love this quote, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Think about that for a moment. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And he's right. When was the last time you convinced yourself you couldn't do something? And leadership starts with what you decide is possible for yourself, for your team and your business, well before there's external proof. Every powerful decision, every powerful transformation, whether in business or in personal life, begins the moment you decide it's possible. And that's the muscle we're building today. And so if you ever catch yourself wavering or in analysis paralysis, as so many high-performing women do, pause to remember. Past decisions are evidence of your willingness to grow. You've done it before. Future decisions are how you design your next chapter at home and in the boardroom. And the results of your past decisions equal your current results, but they do not dictate your future. You always have the power to choose and create the results you truly want. And so let's take a moment to journal now and think about a past decision you made that changed your life or business. It could be as small as something you switched up for breakfast, or as significant as a career move, a business pivot, or a new partnership. What was the impact of that decision? And as you remember the impact of that decision, that is evidence that decisions matter. They are the power tools for building the life, career, and business that you want. So take a moment, we'll just take a minute to document a past decision that you made that changed your life or business. Okay. Thanks, Carrie. Beautiful. So I'll just repeat this. As you remember the impact of that decision, that is evidence that decisions matter. They are the power tools for building your life, career, and the business you want. And every important event that has taken place in your life is as a result of a decision. When you reflect back, you'll see how powerful those moments of choice have been in shaping your journey. And these past decisions are evidence of the power of decision. So is there anyone that would love to share a past decision that was that had an impact and share the impact that was as a result of that decision? Is there anyone who would love to share an experience in the chat?
Or we have a small group if they want to go off mute if they don't want to take the time to type it. Is that all right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Scan the group here. You can just go off mute or raise your hand if you'd like. Wendy, go ahead.
So for me, I left a job. This was 3 weeks before COVID was a word we'd heard of. It was a very stressful job, very rewarding, but very stressful. And it was in healthcare, so that would have been very affected. And I took another job, which was a pay cut. But what that led me to was realizing that I can work from home and be very happy, and all those things it has led to since then. But it was a
You
scary choice because it was also taking a pay cut. It was going to a different job. I'd been at the other job for 10 years, only one to have ever done that job at that place. So it was a lot, but it changed my life.
Absolutely. Beautiful, beautiful. And we'll talk about the ways we make decision. But I love what you said there, Wendy, that it was scary. It was an impactful decision. And look at you now, right? Would you look back and say it was a great decision?
We're glad
Absolutely.
she made that decision.
Yes. Thank
Victoria,
you.
there's another one in the Zoom chat. I'm not sure if you can see it. Lori says the decision was starting a financial certification program at the age of 40, opened amazing opportunities, but also had negatively affected her career opportunities as she put exams and certifications first.
Okay, okay. Well, great awareness. And
Mhm.
perhaps over the course of this time here, we might be able to reframe the impact of that decision. We may be able to mine for the gold that came out of that decision. And I see that Sarah has accepted a new role. Oh, it's scrolled up. Are you able to read that?
Yeah,
Sorry.
accepted a new role in her corporate job, which meant moving to a new city. She did this 9 times. Agreed to take a meeting with a recruiter after 18 years with the same company and ended up doubling her income in 2 years. Charlene says she ended a new collaboration and made her realize the pattern of still wishing someone would do it for me. And I learned I actually had everything I needed already to succeed and to trust and believe in myself. Jamie says she left a commissioned salon to become a chair renter, and that led her to where she is now sole proprietor and the future salon owner. I was terrified, she says, but it was a great decision.
Mm, beautiful, beautiful. And in this reflection, like the importance of this reflection is that it is evidence of the power of decision, right? There is cause and effect as a result of these decisions being made. Some of them good, some of them bad. And so I'll share a quick story from my life now. It's relevant in terms of decision making muscle, the decision making muscle, and developing it. And before I do that, I want to say thank you for those shares in the chat. I realize that as we do this, we are sharing what may be vulnerable to some of us. So I really appreciate your honesty, your authenticity, and the fact that this is community where we support and uplift each other. So thank you. Thank you. So my life, I had a 30-year career in film and television. And when I was physically in production, aka filming the shows, which looking back on it, actually, I was filming consistently from 2011 to 2023, I would make hundreds of decisions a day. And there were days I went home and I couldn't decide what I wanted to eat for dinner. And what I didn't realize at the time was those 14-hour production days built my decision-making muscle, like literally built the muscle. And while I couldn't see it, I know now that that ability is one of my superpowers. And I see that that skill serves me in my business and leadership as a coach and in my family and in my personal growth. And so if you're sitting here right now with any self-judgment about any of your past choices, or with any hesitation to make new ones, here's a shift to try on. Instead of thinking I'm afraid to decide because I might mess up, try on I am empowered by my ability to decide. And every decision at work and in life is a step forward. And let this be a new thought that you get to try on, just like you're trying on clothes when you go shopping, that you get to try on this week. Because every empowered decision you make, professionally or personally, moves you forward on the path to creating the life and business you desire. And so the power of decision, sorry, the power of decision focuses our intention and unlocks what we desire in our business and life. And so everything in our life starts with that decision. I know I'm repeating that. I'm repeating it for emphasis, as I would like to say. Before results change, before actions are taken, before opportunities appear, there is always that moment you decide, right? And here's an often overlooked truth. Indecision is also a decision. When we stay stuck or choose not to choose or stay on the fence, life continues on. And that shapes our path too. As Bob Proctor likes to say, indecision is the silent architect of our circumstances. When we linger on the fence, that too becomes our choice. And what we do not decide decides for us. And I'm going to give you a production example in a moment, but the point of this is what you defer, life decides for you, right? It happens anyway. And so definiteness of decision always requires courage, sometimes very great courage, especially when the outcome isn't guaranteed. But here's what sets successful women apart. And the happiest leaders and the most successful entrepreneurs aren't the ones who never feel fear. They're not the ones that don't experience failure or doubt. They're simply the ones who make a decision and then let their actions line up with their intention. And so I invite you now to notice where in your life or your business is indecision costing you energy, money, or time? And what becomes possible when you decide for greater clarity, joy, results, or impact now? And so let's take a minute to journal on that. Would anyone love to share what you may have noticed? Anyone love to share anything in the chat? Or you can put your virtual hand up. I need to steel myself. This is Laurie. I need to steel myself to go after a truly challenging role once I'm fully certified so that I feel that it was worth the effort and the sacrifice. Okay. Need to steel myself to go after a truly challenging role once I'm fully. Okay. So what becomes possible when you decide is that you will do this. Go after a challenging role. Beautiful.
I think it's Melanie here. I think for me, because I'm more of that analytical brain, if I don't make a decision, then I will continue to just look and look and look for more information, which does cost me a lot of time and energy. And so if I can land one direction or the other, then at least I'm reducing how much information I even need to seek by half. And then that usually leads to more answers becoming clear sort of down that pathway.
Absolutely. Beautiful. Fantastic awareness there. Thank you for sharing, Melanie. Yeah. Anyone else? I heard someone unmute.
I'll just read Charlene's. Charlene says it gave me a great reminder of that saying, take one step towards, take one steps towards God and the gods, and they take 10 steps towards you. That was what came to mind when asked what was possible when you decide. You have to give the universe a direction instead of sending out more indecision. And Wendy
Mhm.
says, she just says, I don't want to share my indecision, but making a decision on it will free up time for more alignment. Yeah,
Beautiful.
I hear that. I
And then,
remember,
go
sorry,
ahead.
I'll just throw something in. I remember a mindset shift for me at one point. It was years and years ago. It was like there actually are no wrong decisions. They're just decisions with
Mhm.
consequences. And once I realized that, I'm like, okay, so I'm making a step. I think it was just that was said here. I've made a step, and now I accept the consequences, and I'm going to mitigate, make sure that there's as little risk as possible. But there's just decisions, right? And
Yeah.
they're not right or wrong. Sarah Delaney says, I find it easy to make decisions for other people, then do what it takes to enact and support those decisions to make sure they're successful. But for myself, I will overanalyze, question myself and my talents, and not make any decision rather than having to commit to a particular course of action.
Hmm. Beautiful. Yeah. And I want to reiterate, I did say it at the beginning, but I want to reiterate there is no right or wrong. Absolutely. It's simply understanding how it is that we make decisions, how we show up in this space and decide or analyze what we are processing. And so what we're doing here is understanding more of how we are making those decisions so that we can turn it into our superpower. And so decide now that decision is your leadership superpower, right? No right or wrong, simply that the decision itself is the superpower. And think about what and where you can use it starting now to create the life and business you truly want. So that's why we were looking at what it's been costing you, so that you can see that if you've been sitting in indecision, if you have, like Megan said, been sitting in the research mode, weighing the pros and cons, you get to see that as part of your process. But that process doesn't have to have a hold on you indefinitely. You get to notice it in your awareness, and you get to use it in your making of the decision. Does that make sense? And so now you know that what kind of decision maker you are, right? As a result of doing the test, we've been digging into it, and many of you were A's and B's and B's and C's, and it's all perfectly natural. No right or wrong. This is a spectrum of strengths for all entrepreneurs and professionals alike. And knowing the strengths and the opposite side of it helps you be even more empowered. This is your awareness that empowers you from here on. And so the quick gut decider, the decider doer, decisive, adaptable, rarely stuck in analysis paralysis. They seize opportunities and act fast on new business ideas and keep things moving. And the other side of that is sometimes you leap before you look, missing details or consequences, right? I can absolutely put my hand up for that one. The analytical weighers. You're the master of pros and cons, facts, strategy, doing research and risk assessment. You're thorough, thoughtful, and great at planning both life and business changes. And the opposite of that is sometimes you get stuck in analysis paralysis, and perhaps you've missed the window for action on occasion. Once again, it's the knowing this. And then the flow deciders, the flexible flowers, trusting in inspiration, moving with movement and improvising as a leader or an entrepreneur. You're intuitive, open to new opportunities, and great at adapting to change. And the opposite side of that, sometimes you miss a deadline or checkpoints in your business or life because you were trusting in the flow. Regardless of your style, every style is valued. Think of it when you're hiring people. Every style is valued and every style is valuable. You are unique, and your awareness of your decision-making style is empowering. And so let's journal again on how has your style served you in business or life? And what might it hold you back from in achieving your highest results? And I know some of what we talked about earlier brought that up, but I invite you to journal on this again in case something else has come up for you. So we'll spend another minute on this, Kerry, please. Beautiful. Beautiful. Would anybody love to share in the chat? I see Melanie has said, my analytical style holds me back when I'm trying to decide based on feelings without realizing I am missing information. When I realize that I don't know and get that information, then making a decision feels way easier. Beautiful. Great. Great way to lean into your analytical style. Lovely. Zoom user, it seems that I have been more successful in making spontaneous gut feeling decisions. Though I am a B, I am wasting energy and time second guessing and weighing alternatives. Okay, so once again, the awareness that you have been expending, I want to say expending, using time and energy, not wasting it, simply using it, time and energy on weighing alternatives. So now you know that about yourself. And Sherry says, B, it kept me safe, but also a little trapped. Yeah, so that's beautiful, beautiful awareness about what fear and indecision is doing for us. It's keeping us safe. It's keeping us in that comfort zone. And yes, it's absolutely trapping us from leaning into our full potential. My decision making from Chantal, my decision making was very fear driven, lowest risk options, staying safe and in my comfort zone. This year, I've been pushing myself out of the comfort zone, and it's opened up a lot of opportunity for you. Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. So uh, uh, you've appreciated that your past decision-making process was keeping you safe. And by leaning into a discomfort zone, by leaning into growth, it has opened you up for a lot more opportunities. And that is fantastic awareness and evidence that when you do that, opportunities do open up for you. So I invite you, what I do with my clients sometimes is I invite them to write a success list, to write moments of these wins so that you have a library, a success list that demonstrates that when you do these things, opportunities and achievements arise out of them. Beautiful. Okay. All right. So why do our decisions matter so much? And we know because every meaningful change, every leap forward begins with a single decisive choice. It sets our focus and energy. It builds our days, our weeks, and our legacy. We move our ideas into action. And every result starts with a decision. And as we've said, not deciding has consequences too. If you imagine you're standing at a fork in a road, whether for your business or your relationships or your health, you can go left, you can go right, or you can freeze. But each path creates an entirely different future. And I'll take this moment now to share a story about indecision that I encountered while I was on a particular production. I won't name the person I was working with, but she's now incredibly famous. And at the time, she was very challenged with making decisions. And I couldn't understand. I really couldn't understand it because I was seeing the full impact of her indecision. Her indecision to determine a simple color painting a wall literally had effect on the props department, on the painting department, the set deck department, the construction department. There was so much cause and effect in that. And yet at the now looking back on it, I realized that she simply wasn't, the way she made decisions simply wasn't that fast action, decisive doing way. She was an analytical wayer. She wanted to poll for research, ask others for their opinions. And with that research, she was going to make the decision. And so for her, I mean, think about it. For her, this was a nightmare. We're in an environment where you have to make decisions now because there was so much cause and effect as a result of it. And my job was to help her make these decisions. It was a true learning for me, that we were so diametrically different in our process. And I remember, I'm sharing this just out of pure authenticity. I remember there was one day we were having a meeting and I was dreading it. She was dreading it. And I came up to her and we started talking and she was shrinking. I mean, she was shrinking from me. She was absolutely shrinking from me because she knew that she had to make these certain decisions and that it was her job description to make them. And now as I look back, if I had had these tools at the time, we would have been able to weigh the pros and cons together. We would have been able to sit down and talk about what her fears were. I would have been able to support her as opposed to simply saying, well, it's decision time. And so we know that decision is the fundamental power that shapes our focus and sets our intention, especially in film production, but in all our business, right? And it's not just about choosing between options. When you decide for something, your goal, a new client, a new business partner, you step out of indecision and into clarity and alignment. So picture this. Your decision is like flipping a powerful spotlight onto the area of your choosing. Suddenly, that piece of business or your life is illuminated, right? Zeroed in on. And your attention, energy, and creativity rush to it. Resources and opportunities appear, not because they weren't there, but because now you're focused and intentional. And I think it was Chantal in the chat who said, once she made the decision, resources and opportunities appear. And so it's important to note that it's not because they weren't there to begin with, but it's because now you are focused and intentional in that regard. And the truth is, we don't build a thriving business or a fulfilling life by accident. It's a series of intentional choices and decisions compounded over time. And even little decisions, the call made, that email sent, a new connection, or a risk taken, has ripples that expand outwards, shaping your journey. And as Bob Proctor says, you can virtually eliminate conflict and confusion in our life by becoming proficient at making decisions. Decision making brings order to your mind, and this order is then reflected in your results. And that's why this matters so much, because when you recognize the profound power that you hold every day, you step back behind the driver's seat of your business and life. And this is where transformation begins. And so, if you've ever experienced decision anxiety, and we've talked about that today, you're not alone. If you've ever second guessed yourself, hesitated, or worried about picking the wrong path, congratulations, you are officially human. We have all experienced it. Fear of making decisions, fear of making mistakes, perfectionism, fear of making decisions, perfectionism, imposter syndrome, analysis paralysis, and that looping mental chatter of, what if I get it wrong? What if I fail? And so one of the biggest myths about confident leaders is that they never feel failure, or they never feel fear or doubt. But the truth is, even the most successful entrepreneurs and decision makers have moments of anxiety, perfectionism. They simply have trained themselves to recognize it. That's what we're doing here today, to recognize it and move through it. You are absolutely not alone in this. And in fact, well, actually, I'm going to share a story. I had a meeting with a bunch of producers, probably in the early noughties, and we, for the first time ever, we were being authentic and honest with each other. And absolutely everybody in that room experienced imposter syndrome. And I have to say, the minute we shared that, it released so much weight, so much heaviness and baggage that we've been carrying with us. Now, feeling a bit of tension is also a healthy sign that you care about the outcome. The difference isn't in having these feelings, but it's in what we choose, what we decide to do with it. Growth happens not in the absence of fear, but in the presence of courageous, imperfect action. And so I invite you now to, I'm going to do an exercise together. I invite you to close your eyes for a moment. And now that you have a good idea of your decision-making style, let's discover what could make your next big decision easier. So as you close your eyes with your leadership hat on. We'll take a couple of breaths together. And think of a decision you've avoided. Perhaps it is in your current business, or in your former career, or in your life. And notice your thoughts and feelings around it. Once again, without judgment. It's like you're a scientist gathering data. And this is really good for the analytical ones in the group here. You're gathering data. You're noticing if you were feeling the fear of the wrong move or needing to have it perfect. Perhaps, like I once was, you're carrying the weight of responsibility for others, or that internal story of not being good at this. So just notice what you're noticing right now. And as you open your eyes, take a moment to write down what you experienced and notice those limiting beliefs. Was it the fear of failing, imposter syndrome, perfectionism, overwhelm, or simply believing it could be possible to make the wrong decision? And please write it down now, because labeling it, naming it, is liberating. Once you name it, observe it, you have the power to release it in exchange for a more empowering thinking pattern. So we'll just take a moment now for you to write that down. Thank you, Carrie. And so, did you find that labeling it is liberating? And please share in the chat if you feel moved to share what you may have noticed about yourself, because this may help someone else see that they're not alone. So Chantel says the biggest thing that hit her is how tired she is and how hard it is to make decisions when you're tired. Yeah, because sometimes you make the ones that are easiest rather than the ones that are better for you. Yes, yes, beautiful, beautiful awareness. Would anyone else love to share? And I just want to reiterate that we're not going to dwell long in the limiting belief. This process is to label it, because when you name it and observe it, you have the power to release it in exchange for a more empowering thinking pattern, which is where we're going to go to next. So if there's anyone else who would love to just write something down that came to them so they can release it, get it out of their minds onto paper and into the chat. Off out into the universe, free. Fear of my
Someone
idea
says
not
fear.
working.
Yeah, oh, sorry, you go ahead. If you can see
No,
it, go ahead.
thank you. Fear of my, from Heather, fear of my ideas not working. Yes. Jennifer, I don't think it's being wrong, but it being so much more work to get back to where I am financially now if I make this big change. Yeah. So you get to notice that thinking. You get to notice the fear, the reservation, the holdback. And Wendy, fearing I will make the wrong decision. Yeah. So good on you for naming it. Good on you for putting it out there. I applaud you. And please know for everybody else that who haven't shared, chances are whatever you wrote down, most of us have experienced it. And so Melanie's just written stability short term for both my spouse and I being more important than having a bit of time to see if I can create it in a way I feel happier. Yeah, so stability short term. Yeah, I understand. And then Kerry's just written, as women, I think we also spend a lot of time overthinking how our decisions will affect the others in our lives. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And so what I would love to do now is rewrite the story. And let's try this on. I honor my experience and my instincts. I trust myself to make strong decisions. And when I do, I am empowered and I create momentum for what matters. And every decision at work and in life is a step forward. So I invite you to breathe that in, to repeat it to yourselves a couple of times. I honor my experience and my instincts. I trust myself to make strong decisions. And when I do, I am empowered and I create momentum for what matters. And every decision at work and in life is a step forward. How does that feel? Would anyone like to express how that feels for them? And does that feel empowering? And if so, notice that shift, because that's self-leadership in action. And so now I'd love you to take a moment to write down what shifted for you and what's one action you can take, that one action you can decide to take when we finish this morning that feels easy and powerful for you to do. And perhaps it's even taking that one step that you've been avoiding. So let's take a moment now to write down what shifted for you. How was that for you? Would anyone love to share? You can come off mute if that's easier.
So we have someone who's saying that the first action will be to stop second guessing themselves, go with the decision that feels like an automatic yes. Failure can also lead to opportunities. Oh, I'm seeing this in direct message. That's why you might not see it. It's learning what works and what doesn't in order to grow. I've been thinking too long on topics.
Beautiful awareness. Like once again, nothing is either right or wrong. There is no judgment here. We are the scientist honing this data to help us in the future. It's such great awareness. Thank you for sharing that, Kerry. And so now let's talk about some tools for mastering decision making, and let's make it tactical. Everything here works for business or for life. And so tool number one, the clarity pause. We've been doing it here. Step back, breathe, tune in. Take a break from the noise, the competing deadlines, the input from your boss, your team, your family, your partner, right? So we're overwhelmed by people's opinions. And listen for your real wisdom. Breathe and ask yourself, does it align with my values, with my vision or business mission? Think about what your body is telling you. Is there excitement, tension, and curiosity? And then from that, clarity grows with action. What's your next small step? And then next, the pros and cons list. For complex choices, embrace the brain dump, right? Whoops, sorry. Let's move that back. Embrace the brain dump. It's so useful to get it out of our minds, right? And onto paper. But then when you have, focus simply on 2 or 3 factors that really make or break this in your business or personal life. And by just honing in on a couple of those pros and cons, you'll find the decision gets lighter and action gets swifter. Number 3, trust your intuition. Once again, pause, breathe, and ask, what is my gut saying? What's my business sense or personal compass pointing to? Your instinct is evidence-based. Look to your history, honed by your lived experience. Check back to what we wrote earlier about a decision that you made that had impact in your life. And trust your intuition. Tool number 4, set a decision. sorry, tool 4 and 5 are coming together. Set a decision deadline, because leaders and entrepreneurs keep things moving. Give yourself a deciding by date and time. I'll decide by, and then honor that commitment. And I have to say, I just want to share, I used this one recently when planning our holiday in the winter. I said to my partner, let's simply make a note of when we're making the decision. That's it. And all of a sudden, we alleviated any of the mental pressure between now and then. We got to focus on other things, and we kept to our agreement. We decided on the day that we said that we were going to decide. So when you create your decision deadline, honor that commitment. And by doing that, you're also saying to yourself, no more someday. By choosing a timeline for personal and business decision making, you are making progress. You're giving yourself a command and you're following it. And then next, number 5, advanced decision making. In the same way we make reservations for dinner, car rentals, or hotels, and pre-plan play dates, go into the theater or movies, we can do the same with our decisions. Think of the problems you will eliminate by making many of the decisions you must make in advance. This works especially for someone on a diet, because once they've decided that they're not going to eat that piece of cake, if they're faced with it, they have already pre-decided that they're not going to eat it. So what are the things that you can pre-decide, simply planning the night before, that can eliminate your time in the morning or during the day? You know, perhaps it's deciding what to wear, what to have for breakfast, the time you leave the house. I know people who plan their whole week's wardrobe ahead of time, so that they don't have to expend mental energy the day of to decide what they're going to wear. So it's a simple, practical tool that can build time and give you energy back in your week. And so let's journal now on which tool you'll practice first. And notice, is it the same tool that you'll practice for your business and your life? And please declare your commitment and decision in the chat. That accountability will also help you with that pre-decision.
Could you bring up that list one more time so people have it on their?
Yes, I can do that. There we go. The clarity pause, breathing and tuning in. The pros and cons list, a lighter list. Checking in with your intuition. Creating a decision deadline, or advanced decision making, or all of them. You can use all of them. So I love, it's scrolled up, but Louise is going to use pros and cons. Sarah, for big unexpected decisions, number 1, for more day-to-day decisions, a combo of 2 and 4 in order to boost my execution. Beautiful, beautiful. And I didn't see the ones earlier than that. Did you? Can you grab them, Carrie?
Intuition check. Someone says focusing on things that are a heck yes. Wendy says to set a deadline, to make a decision, and a bit of framework to make it, which will be a pros cons list, as well as trusting my gut. Heather says decision in advance. Sometimes I plan to plan for too long. Chantel says the clarity pause and intuition check. And I think we're up to date.
Beautiful. Thank you. So how does that feel? How does that feel for those of you who wrote in the chat? How does that feel now that you have decided what you're going to use? Anyone 2 thumbs up? And so I love this quote by Theodore Roosevelt. In any moment of decision, the best thing you can do is the right thing. The next best thing is the wrong thing. And the worst thing you can do is no thing. We know as entrepreneurs, as leaders, as empowered women, that imperfect action in our business and our life is better than inertia. And successful women move forward, learn, decide again, and create results in both arenas. And so, what's one decision in your business or career calling for clarity right now? And have you landed on making a bold decision during our time together? Please take a moment to journal on those thoughts. And what's your biggest takeaway from today? Please share your insights in the chat, because your inspiration can encourage someone else, because we build our life and business that we want together, supporting each other in community. So please go ahead and share either your biggest takeaway or the decision that you are going to make, a big, bold decision that you've decided on during our time together.
Just
I'd
as
love.
people are writing that, I love the permission you just gave on the last slide, which is to say, making a decision is better than making no decision. Because when you make no decision, someone else is going to make the decision for you. And
Exactly.
or the decision, making no decision, that is a decision, right? And so
Yes.
you like that inertia is actually the worst thing we can probably experience as a business owner. Yeah. Melanie
Yeah,
says,
exactly.
oh
And
yeah,
and sorry, I'll just share that. So one of the things, like going back to my production story, one of the things that I reiterated to this director is, please make any decision, even if it's the decision that you want to change, at least making the decision now allows for everybody else to do the things, and you can absolutely change the decision. But while you have not made the decision, that is where the inertia is. So it is having the courage and the confidence to make a decision, knowing that you also have the ability to change the consequences of that decision should that not have served you in that moment. So thank you, Kerry. Thank you for bringing that up. So I've booked with Enterprise Renfrew County in my area to get support on business setup. Yes, beautiful, Melanie. Well done. Well done. And Louise is working on a big digitalization and automation project, and that she needs to phase out. The bold decision is ranking priorities. And the takeaway is to feel more confident on how to declutter the decision-making process and get closer to clarity. Yay! Thank you, Louise. Perfect. And we'll just give another moment for anyone else who would love to share. I'm conscious of time now. So it's right. Oh, I need to make more active decisions rather than letting things play out and seeing where they take me. I mean, once again, Sarah, like, you get to decide for how you do it, right? Like, you get to notice what your pattern of behavior has been. And so beautiful that you are aware of that, and that you are aware that you are more in flow, and that now you would like to be more proactive. Beautiful.
I'll
Seeing
just
where.
slide in with one quick thought, Victoria, and I think I said it last week at a weekend workshop. I don't know why this is so in my mind, and that is that I'm often reminding myself right now there are women in other countries who do not have decision-making power. And
Mm.
how dare I hold my own self back like I am therefore handcuffing myself? Like what? That's ridiculous when I think about that I have all the freedoms you know, of decision making. And so it is my mind that holds me prisoner if I were to be stopped. I mean, and so to me, I feel like I owe it to all these women in other parts of the world who actually do not have decision making power. I'm like, I will not let this stop me. Like I will do that, and hope that one day everyone has that chance, because it's a right and a privilege and an honor that not everyone has.
Hmm. And it's such a beautiful way of looking at decision. It's like, who am I not to make a decision? Who am I not to move this along? Who am I to hold back what this may potentially inspire and motivate others with? Who am I to hold back sharing an opportunity that may empower someone else? Absolutely. Beautiful. And so thank you, everyone, for bringing your leadership, courage, and openness today. Decision making isn't a burden. It's fun in a geeky, nerdy kind of way, right? It's your superpower for building the life, work, and business you truly desire. And you can make your decision. So here's to your point, Kerry. You can make your decision from where you are with what you've got. And remember, know what you want, decide it shall happen, and act upon that decision. This is the path to creating the outcome you dream of. And your next great business move or life shift is waiting. And you already have within you what you need to make it bravely. So please stay connected with me. You can reach me on LinkedIn. I am now on Facebook. I decided to go onto Facebook. You can email me. You can reach me on my website. If you would love any coaching, you can schedule your meeting with me. There's the link in the chat. And also, if you would love to join me for another workshop, I have one coming up on Thursday, November the 14th. I believe it's a Thursday, November the 14th at 5 p.m. Please just click on the QR code. It's been an honor and a privilege, everyone. Go forth and build your business and life you want, one courageous decision at a time. You've got this. It's been an honor and a pleasure. Thank you so much. And
Thank you, Victoria.
we have 10 minutes for Q&A.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to stick around, ask a question, you've got Victoria's attention. Great chance for you to ask some questions. So go ahead. If you want to put it in the Zoom chat, or if you would like to come off mute, that's fine as well. Maybe just put your hand up or your little reaction button. Thanks, Victoria. That was amazing. I mean this is a superpower, and we discount it. It's one of those skills that it can either propel us forward or hold us back. And so it's simple, quote unquote, but it's not easy. And so I do appreciate all of this work that you've put into this amazing presentation today.
Well,
Any questions from the group?
You're so welcome. And can I just reiterate
Yeah,
and say again, once again, what we've been doing today is understanding our process without judgment, without like being critical, because you know we immobilize ourselves if we get into that thought process. So we're looking at this as the scientist and knowing then how to use our superpower going forward in making our decisions.
I love that.
Thank you.
We'll linger for another moment, just to see if anybody has a question. My introverts sometimes take a little longer. I'm an introvert too, so we take a little longer sometimes to just process. And some of you might have a private question that you want to follow up with Victoria and ask. So there's her email. You can
Absolutely.
certainly do that as well. Today's workshop will be recorded. It will be on our YouTube channel. And if anyone is curious about future workshops, whether that's Victoria, you see the one that's happening on the Thursday, or a weekend workshop, just reach out and let us know. We would love to have you involved again very soon. Thanks for that. Awesome. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a fantastic day. Take care.